What's up, everyone? Today is Saturday, August the 25th, and this is Shala reporting to you because today we're talking about a paradigm shift. Paradigm shift, something personally that I've went through, and I wasn't really quite able to put it all together as to why, but I was reminded of why when I actually tuned into this video by Dr. Steve Turley. The link will be found below in the description. You can find it. But I was reminded of that paradigm shift when I listened to his video this morning. And so that paradigm shift had to do with economic nationalism, which is something that is governing the Trump presidency. So, for example, 2016, during 2016, I went into business for myself as a business owner for the first time, never having did any prior studying, didn't go to college for it, went to college for something completely different. And I went into business for myself, full-fledged, didn't have an accountant, didn't have someone that was doing my bookkeeping, didn't have a correspondence person to reach out to customers with inquiries, didn't have anyone to do marketing or advertising for me, which are all different components that go into running a business. So I got off the employee side and got into the ownership side. And when you do something like that, your thought process, the way you do things, the way you saw business before is no more because it's all on you. And if you don't move, your business doesn't move. You're responsible for everything. And so most small business owners who just go into business are usually focused on growth because they're starting off. Some, get loans to start off. Funding capital is always a big issue for small businesses, having enough of it. The interest is obviously making more of it because they want to grow. They want to reach certain levels of growth and also maybe even certain levels of capital so they can sustain themselves and stay in business. Most small business owners are out of business within the first year, more than 50%. Because of production, because of not having enough capital for operating costs and other issues. But for the most part, it's not easy to go into business for yourself and sustain yourself. It takes a lot of work, a lot of hard work. And so, when it came down to slashing taxes, that's something that appealed to lots of small business owners, also big corporations, big businesses that may have found it to be expensive to hire certain people, or it's just expensive and they're looking for ways to cut costs. I say that because in being in business for myself, when it was time for me to get products, the products that were here in this country were very, very expensive. And so if you are a new business owner and you're just getting started off, you are going to be looking to cut costs any way possible. You're focused on growth. So you want to buy cheap and you want to sell high. Don't want to use that term, but for the most part, that's the bottom line. You have to turn a profit as a small business owner. And the only way you're going to do that is if you up your prices. So that's something that has to happen. So when I talk about the economic nationalism, which was discussed in this video today by Steve Turley, he said a couple of things, and I wrote down these bullet points because I wanted to make sure that I got this out there because I was just like, wow, okay, this is exactly what it's about. And as to the reason why you have lots of folks like myself, conservatives or Black folks supporting President Trump, outside of the numbers that are being reported that Black unemployment is the lowest it's been in years. There's other things that are going on as well, but that's obviously tied into it. So under the paradigm shift, economic nationalism, So Dr. Turley says that Trump sees the nation as a race. Forget about Black, white, Latino, Asian, Indian. He sees the whole nation as one race. Okay? And for my folks who go to school, who've been in school, have done any of the social studies, post high school, obviously. I was taught that race is a social construct. And it's true. It is. It was created to divide and conquer. Does it exist? So anyhow, what he's saying is that Trump views the nation as one race. To be American is to belong to a multinational or multi-ethnic citizenry. I don't think anyone disagrees with that. But to be American is to be a multinational or to be part of a multinational or multi-ethnic citizenry. What are we going to do for Americans? The solution to race is economic opportunity for every single citizen in this nation. You know why? Because when people have money in their pocket, they got things going on, they can see a future, they're feeling optimistic and hopeful about life, and access to things is not an issue. The feeling is completely different. They're not going to be hung up about what someone else has, because guess what? They have it too. Okay? But it's not about just handing something out to you, giving something to you. It has to do with opportunity, creating the opportunity to attain the things that you want. But it goes both ways. If the opportunity is out there, it's there for you, go get it. Don't look for someone else to do it for you. Okay? So he goes on to say that instead of focusing on political or racial discrimination, Trump is targeting economic discrimination as a result of unfair trade deals. Okay? Rather than focus on political disenfranchisement, Trump focuses on the employment disenfranchisement and the disappearance of the industrial and manufacturing jobs to a globalized division of labor. Rather than focus on social prejudice, Trump focuses on pay prejudice. Okay? He also goes on to say this as it relates to immigration, which I didn't even know. But one of the demographics in the U.S. that stands opposed to immigration the most is Black people. Why? Illegal immigrants is driving wages down. Not so much of, they're doing the jobs that none of us want to do. It's about, if you can pay, you can pay someone, between $8, someone will take $5. Most likely you're going to hire the person that you can pay the lowest wages to. So they're competing for these jobs. So that's an issue, but also not only that, you cannot have it both ways. For the reason why you are seeing there are lots of Blacks leaving the Democratic Party, not just because of walk away, for many reasons. Some of them quietly, are not being vocal about it, but at the end of the day, the majority, I would say, folks like myself, I was raised very conservatively. I've been working since I was 14 years old. I never looked at the world as or looked and felt that the world owed me something. That was never my attitude. And that's not the majority, I would say, of Black people's attitudes. I mean, it's in the Bible, right? If you don't work, if a man doesn't work, he doesn't eat. I'm not a man, but yeah, same thing. I mean, how are you going to be expecting things when you're not willing to work for them? But at least the jobs has to be available. And right now, they're saying that there are more jobs available than there are people to work them. That being factual, if that is the case, that's amazing. It's amazing. And I don't see what else could be more important than making sure people have money in their pocket to take care of their families, to take care of themselves. to live, to exist, to sustain themselves, how can you replace that? If that's what's happening right now, why would we want to get someone out of office to change that? So we can put people in office who are interested in raising taxes and taking more money out of people's pockets for what? To fund what? What programs? So another thing Turley goes on to say is that you can't have it both ways. And he's talking about the Democrats, that you claim to be champion for these working people and you claim to protect the jobs of Americans, while at the same time you're supporting open borders and supporting every benefit on the planet for illegal immigrants. So there's no way. You can't have it both ways. And I think every time you turn on the television, you hear them speaking about anything. I think just recently when it came down to Elizabeth Warren, which I was very surprised about, she was very dismissive about the young lady that was just killed, I believe in Iowa, from an illegal immigrant, where she was very dismissive. They asked her about it and she rolled it off to say that, we have bigger problems like, people being separated from their families. So here it is, American citizen that was murdered by an illegal immigrant, not the headline that they want to have a discussion about, not the narrative that they want to promote. They switch it around and just go back into, yeah, but what's really important is that we have to keep kids with their families. She's running for president in 2020. She's going to get trounced, and she deserves to get trounced. So really, in all reality, support for the president is growing, and it's growing for a number of reasons. I don't know if you've also read in the news that Trump is overseeing a bull market in the stock market for the longest, meaning he has basically been in charge, or let's say the manager, overseeing a bull market for the longest period of time in history, in stock market history. So what that means for folks depends on where you are. If you're an investor, that's a good thing. That's a great thing. If you trade stocks, that's a great thing, because that means that stocks are growing, they're going up. Stocks are growing, going up. People are making money. That's what it means. Just on TV, they was just mentioning about, just the other day, they mentioned impeachment over 200 times. In one day. All tied into the whole Michael Cohen, Manafort, all these little things that have been on in the news, just buzzing everywhere you turn. Just nonstop. Over 200 times they talked about impeachment. It's crazy. So, when it comes down to the midterms, if it comes down to being for 2020, what viable thing do the Democrats have to offer other than we want open borders, we want a pathway to citizenship, which I don't think that everybody is really actually against that. You have people that are in support of that. But regardless, what platform are you running on? And that you're going to raise taxes. Why? Why would anybody want to, jump off and go support them just because of that? What is that going to do for your life? How is that going to make it any better? It's just not. So, anyhow, with that said, guys, hope everyone's well. And again, as I mentioned to you before in the previous video, Walkaway is doing amazing things, and I hope to be reporting to you really soon as those developments pick up. And I will stay in touch, and I'm going to wish everyone a wonderful weekend, and I will talk to you soon.